Hi there, this is Sam with Second Tier Sound. I thought I would try a different format today. Actually, it has to do with me, and maybe you're experiencing the same thing. So, the thing is sometimes you feel stuck, and so do I. And I thought maybe if I take a walk, it might change my mind. If you're anything like me, you have a tendency to sometimes sit there in front of your computer or your keyboard, whatever instrument you use, and you just beat that idea into the ground. You just try harder and harder to forcibly get some ideas out, and you might succeed, but I think if you're like me, most times you don't. It just gets harder and harder, and it feels less fun to do music. It just feels like hard work, actually. So I thought I should talk a little bit about different ideas and how you can combat that and how you can change your mind. And it's quite simple. It's just that we have some resistance. At least I do. Let's talk about myself. Because I think the idea of going out, even if it's rainy, cold, dark, it's an excellent way to just change your mind around. And I have that resistance myself. I have a project, I have a deadline, I really have to work on it, and I feel like going out right now just feels counterproductive. I don't have time for this, you know? I'm sort of already frustrated. I'm already beat. But I really am trying to remind myself that it is worth it, because I'm sitting there, bent over at my desk. I'm sort of stuck in my physical position. I'm stuck in my work, I'm stuck in my flow. I have to do something else in order to open that flow, or whatever you want to call it, open the creativity. And there are many ways to do that. You can obviously do a workout session, you can call somebody, talk to a friend. But most of us would sit there at our computer, so we go to YouTube. Maybe you found this video, or Facebook, or whatever you do. And you tend to just sit there stuck in the same position. You know, you don't get anywhere. And it's so important to move your body in order to change your perspective, change your mind, come up with new ideas that you haven't thought of before. And I think I read somewhere, and obviously I don't have the source now typically, that a lot of composers tend to do the same thing. And maybe it was out of necessity because they had to travel, you know, to a new city. A lot of musicians are travelers, you know. A new gig somewhere, or somebody else is hiring you, especially back in the days, you know. You were hired by a new king or pope somewhere, if you were that lucky. Or you just travel around doing concerts. And that puts your mind in a new state all the time. You saw new vistas. Maybe you had to sit a long time in one way of traveling. You got new places, new inspirations. And that really gave you new ideas. But also moving your body, right? I always get totally different ideas when I move my body. Rhythmically, for example, if I walk a certain way or run or swim or whatever I do, new ideas come up to me. But it doesn't have to be just a hard physical activity. It can also be a kind of focus, a stillness. I, for example, meditate. And it doesn't have to do anything to do with religion. It's just a way to focus your mind, or to empty your mind, as I like to call it. And actually, even though meditation for me is supposed to be sort of about focus and emptying my mind, I tend to come up with a lot of ideas when I meditate. And sometimes it's almost detrimental, because I'm supposed to sit there in silence and then like, oh my God, I just got this idea and I can't wait to write it. You know? So, but try it out, just to, maybe you can focus your mind in a different way if you don't like meditation. Maybe you can draw something. Or just do some physical activity. That will tend to give you some focus. So really try that. Get out, move. Just for 5 minutes, and you do have the time. It's your resistance that says you don't. And even if you don't live in a nice area with beautiful nature, you live in a city, who cares, right? Just go out and listen to the sounds. Maybe you could hear a new melody in the ambulance, I don't know. You know? Just go out and see what it is. See it as an adventure. Put on the right gear, you know, the right clothes in order to handle the weather, whatever it is. You know, it will make you feel alive, even if it feels like, oh my God, it's so cold and rainy. You know, in an umbrella, raincoat, whatever, and you feel like, I could do this. You feel better about yourself. You change your mind. Also, I thought about an idea when I was walking, because I typically tend to get my ideas when I'm walking or meditating or doing something else, rather than sitting at my computer, actually. is that I tend to work in the extreme with my songs. I tend to beat them to the ground until they're finished. And it might seem like a good idea because yes, I get my songs done. I finish them, but I feel like it comes to it's at a great cost, I'm trying to say. Because sometimes I get really tired and bored of this, and I was like, I have to do this, and I'm just forcing myself to come out with new music. And it starts to feel a little bit abusive. Sometimes there are serious deadlines and you just have to do it that way, but all the time? And I do want to say I do this because this is a little bit of a reaction to what I tend to, or used to do in the past. I tend to just, write a few songs here and there, and never finish them, just 15 seconds here and there, small snippets. And I had like a whole drawer of small things. And a lot of people do that. It's not necessarily wrong, but I thought, how can I combine these two so I also get productive, so I actually give me some kind of incentive to finish and go somewhere. So I thought maybe I can combine these two. Let's pick a number. I pick 4 to 5 songs, and I work on each song a little bit every day. So the idea is, even if you haven't done anything, you start with song number 1, or maybe it is the song you're still working on, and you just work on that for, let's set a half an hour. You set a timer, or if you're really good at recognizing what you're doing, serving yourself, then you stop when it feels like it's too boring, like you're beating something down the bush, that when you feel like this is not fun anymore, I'm not going anywhere. But at least try to develop an idea. Take one step forward. Maybe you develop a new chord progression, or you come up with some kind of orchestration idea, something like that. So you feel like you've taken one step. Right, and then you go on to the next song. Work on that, completely fresh, new start, something else, completely different genre. So if you have 5 songs, that's great. If you don't, just start 5 songs from scratch. But don't feel like, oh my God, I have to work on 5 songs. Jeez, I had a hard time coming up with one. No, it's supposed to be quite fun. Just do something simple and feel like you don't have to do that much. Maybe 5 minutes is enough for you. 5 minutes on each song every day. Because I think that this way you will be more creative. You will actually do more stuff. If you just work on one song, there's a tendency to just never finish it. And all that creativity that you feel is stuck right now, that is not for that song, you can then use for other songs. Maybe you get this idea in that song number 1, but it doesn't really fit. But it might fit another song you're working on. And also, I feel it's good to still have some kind of discipline there. Maybe you have 5 songs and not a bunch of them that you never finish. You do try to finish these songs, but a little bit of each of them every day. And maybe there's one day that song number 3, you got nothing. Okay, you got nothing. No worries. But the other songs you do, or maybe 2 songs you got nothing, it doesn't matter. But you try a little bit, you look at each song every day for whatever time you put, and you try to get something done, and you continue that every day. I have a suspicion that this will be more fun. It depends on who you are, obviously. What kind of work do you need? What kind of discipline you have? For some people, just beating one song down the bush is the way to go. Or some people doing 16 different songs whenever they feel like it, that's the way to go. But try it. See what happens. You can always tell me in the comments, what you came up with, if this was good for you, or maybe you've tried this already, or maybe you have an even better idea. It would be really good if you actually said that, because we can help each other out. Creativity is sort of this magical thing that we don't always know how to get it going, You can't just force yourself for creativity. It doesn't work. But there still needs to be some kind of discipline, I believe. So let me know what you think, what you come up with. And I think, just a reason for me to get out is I will probably do these vlog videos now and then to share some of my thoughts. And maybe you'll find out what a crazy person I am. And maybe you will find out that you're similar and you won't feel so alone. Hey, there are other kooks out there. I don't know. I hope it's inspiring. I hope there's something you can think about. And just a little bit different. All right, so whatever you do, maybe an idea is to not watch more YouTube videos. Come up with something, let me know. Take care, until next time.